And good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Writing Urban Form online workshop. And today we're hosting a lecture. We're hosting 4 lectures. The first one is that of Beliz. Please mute your microphone. If you wish to make a question, write it down in the chat. We can take note of this and then do it later. After her presentation, we're going to listen to a draft presentation of one of our master and PhD students, but the final presentation of these works will be done 2 weeks from now, and that will be announced. So today we got 4 lectures. The first one is that of Beliz Busra SAHIN from the Department of Urban Projects of the Adana Metropolitan Municipality. 11 o'clock, we're going to have Sophie Kirtstrand-Weigar. 3 o'clock, Letitia von Kruger-Pimentel. 4 o'clock, Haniera Zavivand. In between these lectures, we are going to have a discussion about the works of our students, but not in lunchtime. So in that time, we will go and do something else. So today we are now to introduce Beliz Busra SAHIN. I beg your pardon for my Turkish pronunciation, which is not that good. She's going to talk about tracing social structure in urban form. So Beliz graduated from the Department of Architecture of Çukurova University in 2016, and she completed her master degree at Çukurova University at the Department of Architecture in 2019. Then she started working as an architect in the Adana Metropolitan Municipality in 2017, and there she continues to do her work and research. She is interested in urban morphology, urban conservation, and historical environment, and therein she has been bringing on her researches. So, Busra, if you're, Beliz, if you're ready, we can go with your presentation.
Yes, I'm ready. Okay, so I'm starting. I'll share my screen. Oops. I couldn't share my screen. It wants me to choose a template actually.
You need to choose the one,
It says there's a whiteboard and there's a option at advanced. Should I from there?
So when you make the share screen option, then you have to select which window you want to share, and it's going to present you different options. So you have to select the window with the PowerPoint, which should be already open.
I'm not sure about I'm doing the correct thing. I didn't see anything like that before. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
When you click on share screen, you're going to have a window, and in that window, all those programs that are already open. So you need to open your PowerPoint. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I'm
then in there, you're going to be you can choose between different programs that are running on your computer, and that PowerPoint is going to show in that window. When you click on that option, you're going to be sharing that program. And if you wish to share another program, you can check. You can click on the other one.
I'm sharing my computer sound right now.
Not the sound.
Okay, I guess it's okay right now. You can see it, right?
Thank you.
Okay. So, yes. Hello, everyone. Before starting, I firstly, nice to meet you in advance with you all, and I want to thank Mr. CAMIZ for inviting me. So, a big pleasure for me to be here. And today I will be talking about my master thesis study to you, and I will try to explain how I trace the social structure in my master thesis. The presentation will be focused on my master thesis. So this is the outline. I will first summarize the whole content of the study, and there will be the physical and the social background of the study field, and then morphological analysis, and then conclusions as final. Normally, the title of my thesis is a morphological reading in Adana Historic City Center, physical transformation of Abidin Pasha Avenue between 1938 to 2018. And the purpose of my study was to investigate the physical analysis of Abidin Pasha Avenue between the specified time by using morphological methods and to explain the factors behind these transformations. And within these purposes, I made some morphological analysis and used methods developed by the Konzen and Gianfranco Canigia. And we made this analysis with different types of maps, drawings, and old newspapers. But I use newspapers mostly for the social investigation, and I will be focusing on this material actually today. And the physical and social background for the study field. If there is someone who doesn't know where Adana is, it's an international meeting. Adana is in the southern part of Turkey. It's an Eastern Mediterranean city. And when we look back its historical background, we know that it goes the ancient times. And in these ancient times, the Roman period is important for us because most of the survived structures belong to that period. And it's a map of Finger, it's a Roman roadmap, and we see Adana in this map too. And while it has a rich history in that context, there is also some estimations according to some researches. And in these estimations, the most important one was for me actually the estimation about Abidin Pasha Avenue, because it was there was an argument like Abidin Pasha Avenue may be the old Roman main axis, colonnaded main axis, and it may be the Decimus Maximus in the Roman time. And while there are many Roman structures in the study area, some specific conditions also strengthens that idea. And as its shape and the location, Abidin Pasha Avenue extends between two historical city gates named Castle Gate and Tarsus Gate, and they are connecting to the stone bridge, which is an old Roman bridge over River Seyhan. And it is also known that the Orpheus mosaic dated from the Roman period was found during the excavations made for the construction of central bank building on the avenue in '64. And depending on these informations about definition of the main axis of the eastern Roman territories of Kosovo and the indications about the connection of the Roman main axis and the city gates also support the idea of the avenue was the Roman Decimus Maximus. And this is the map of actually about all these indications. This is the map of the historic city center of Adana, and this linear axis is Abidin Pasha Avenue, and the gates were in the west and the eastern start of the avenue. They are demolished. The Tarsus Gate was demolished in 16th century, and the Castle Gate was demolished in 30s. This is the location of the Orpheus mosaic, which is in the Archaeology Museum of Adana. This is Tepebağ Mound, location of Tepebağ Mound. It is the first settlement. It is estimated as the first settlement location of Adana. And this is river bath. It is known that this bath was constructed on the ruins of an ancient old Roman bath. And this is the Tom Bridge here. We still use this bridge. And this is the study field actually, and it has a very rich historical background for us. And when we look back the social background of the avenue, there were so restricted information actually. Actually, they were not written sources. The most known is where its name is coming from actually, because when Abidin Pasha was the governor of Adana, he renews the irregular form of the avenue, and they give his name to the avenue. And when I start to make a research about the social background, I was hearing a lot of stories, a huge urban memory, but as I said, they were not written sources, and I was very, I was aiming to put all of them to my thesis, so I had to find a way to find a written source for me. So at this point, the newspapers was the perfect material for me. I had the Adana newspaper archives for another research in the past, so I started to read the newspapers to find some indication about the importance of the city. And the archive I had was between 1938 to 1990. When I started to read the newspapers, it was so easy for me to find too many news about the avenue because it was really so important. For example, there are some samples that I put some of them. For example, the first one is, this one is a criticism column about the implementations made by municipality, and the writer emphasizes that this avenue is so important, so if you make some construction here, it should be in a good quality. And the second one is, and this one is an advertisement of a rental house on Abidin Pasha Avenue. And the definition of the advertisement says that there's a rental house in the most beautiful location of our city, which is Abidin Pasha Avenue. It goes like that. Another one is a news about a fight happened between a group of women and young boys on the avenue, and it's another criticism news. It says that it is the most important avenue. How can that kind of things happen on this avenue? It's a news about this case. And this last one is my favorite, actually, about the indication of the importance of the avenue. It is first two sentences. Exact translation of the two sentences is like that. Abidin Pasha, it says, Abidin Pasha Avenue is the #1 street of the city. It is the commercial center of the city. So these news were, I thought that these news were enough for me to put as a source in my thesis, because I was also planning to create a source about the social background of my study field. But when I kept on reading, I tried to find too many detailed news about the avenue too, because they were making new anything about the avenue. They were making new about a new construction, new road, or a new street light. For example, this first one, the translation of the new is, construct and destructive stairs on Abidin Pasha Avenue was started to be removed. This is a criticism headline also, and they criticize the new street lights because they're so close to houses and thief can climb and enter the houses. And they publish this new day by day till municipality remove them. And the second one is unending renovation. The asphalt roads built by municipality collapsed shortly. You can guess the content. And this last one is the dramatic one. It says that below trees on Abidin Pasha Avenue was slaughtered. Local people of Adana who grew up there, who lived there in the past, still talks about this case a lot. They still remember, and whenever they talk about this, they are feeling so sad, and they say that when they did this, everything changed. The avenue was not beautiful anymore. I was always hearing this story, but there was no written source for me, and it was an official written source for me, and I put all of them in my thesis. And there was also a different detail about this avenue too. Normally, its original name is Abidin Pasha Avenue, but generally, none of the people in Adana calls this avenue as Abidin Pasha Avenue. They call it as Doctors Avenue or Banks Avenue. Currently, Banks Avenue used a lot because there are too many bank buildings, and we can make a prediction according to these usages. We can guess that yes, probably there were too many doctors on the avenue, and they were saying Doctors Avenue, and yes, there are bank buildings, and we call it Banks Avenue. But as I said, these were all predictions for me, and I also read the newspaper to find some traces about these usages too. So when I started to read, I started from 1938. From 1938 to almost 50s and 60s, at the end of the 60s, the newspaper had already almost 3 or 4 pages, and majority of the advertising pages was full of doctors' offices that located in Abidin Pasha Avenue or its around. So it's a compilation of the advertisements that I found. There were more and more, but I couldn't put them all here, and some of them don't have a good quality. And there's also something like this. For example, there is a doctor, Dr. Cezmi. He gives advertisements every day, maybe for 10 or 11 years. You see his name every day. So you can understand that, yes, this area was full of doctors. And when I started to read the definition of the addresses, there was also some different details about the definitions too, because they weren't writing the addresses with the name of the avenue and number of the building. They were also explaining with a reference point. For example, in the first one, it says in the address definition, Abidin Pasha Avenue, opposite of Namık Kemal School. And we know that, I didn't put Namık Kemal School here, but Namık Kemal School is an old Armenian school, and we know it has a special architecture. It looks different on the avenue, and probably it was a reference point for people who live there. And another one, Dr. Cezmi, and there is no word as Abidin Pasha Avenue on this definition. We can understand it's on Abidin Pasha Avenue because it says it's in Kale Kapısı, means Castle Gate. And Castle Gate is the gate between Stonebridge and the avenue. If it's on Castle Gate, yes, we know it's on Abidin Pasha Avenue. And the interesting thing about this address, actually, Kale Kapısı, Castle Gate was demolished in 30s, and they are still using this definition to express an address in 40s too. So all these things actually showing the images on the public users about the social background of this study field. And this is Castlegate that I mentioned. It doesn't exist, and this photograph is probably from the start of the 90s, in the start of the 20th century. This is the Castlegate, and after this Castlegate, we entered to Abidin Pasha Avenue. So till this time, it was so clear that yes, this avenue is important for the public user, and it has some images, and it is known with the doctors, so they call it Doctors Avenue. But there was another usage as Banks Avenue. So when I come to the page of 50s and 60s, suddenly the banks, the advertisements of new bank buildings started to appear on the newspaper. And 50s are the period for urban development of Adana. These are the times that the city of Adana grew up so fast. It's growing economically, and there is a excessive immigration to the city. It's getting bigger, and the needs of the city changed. So it was probably affecting the physical structure of the city too. And these are some of the advertisements of bank buildings. For example, it says Akbank, and its address is Abidin Pasha Avenue, number 60. For example, this advertisement was a full-page advertisement, and there were too many advertisements like that. The bank buildings were put on the newspaper so big, and they were always day by day making advertisements about the openings. It's an opening advertisement, the first one, and another one is a bank building that located on the avenue. We can see from the address. But when we see the map of 1965, we already understand how the study field changed. Actually, this is map of 1965, and in the map of 1938, the only bank building on the avenue is Ziraat Bank, this one. But in 65, we see almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more bank buildings. And if you look at it carefully on the avenue, there is no written definition for any building, but bank buildings are especially written on the buildings. So we can also understand that the study field changed, and there are too many bank buildings. And there is, for example, there is another detail about the social importance of the bank buildings. normally this long building is not a bank building. It's not completely a bank building. It's an hotel building, and it's a very famous hotel building for Adana's history, actually, because it is one of the highest building constructed in the city, and it's a city that when the film festival happens, celebrities come and stay there. It's very famous and known in the city, but they don't define it on the map with the hotel. They define it with the bank feature. So it also shows us that banks were important for this study field on that time. This is the building that I mentioned. This is the hotel building, Central Palace Hotel. Probably the Etibank they wrote on the map was in the ground floor of this building. And in addition to bank advertisements, there are also some detailed news about the construction of the bank buildings too. They were taking photographs of the new building, and they were describing the physical features of it. And I found many old photos that we don't have in our archives, thanks to this newspaper archive. They try to, the writer of the newspaper on that time, really try to let the public know what's going on, how this building is, when will it open, and how does it look like. They give very important details. So it was also so important for me to find required details about the buildings too. And till here, it was the social background of the study field, actually. Yes, Abidin Pasha Avenue was so important for the city. It was the main city from the past, and when it started to change economically, when the conditions changed, it started to change physically too, and also its images in the public memory changed too. And now I will start to talk about the morphological analysis of the avenue. This is the study field. The red dots show the border of my study field. We define my study field, actually, the street blocks that created the Abidin Pasha Avenue. So we made I'm saying we because me and my advisor were working very detailed about this study. We tried to make evaluations on this in these borders. And I will be talking about only the street system and building part. But normally in the thesis there are 6 different titles about the morphological analysis, but it's hard to put all of them here. And when you look at the transformation of the street system, in the map of 1938, there are 23 street blocks. And when we look at 2018, there are also 23 street blocks. So the number of the blocks didn't change. And we see 2 major differences between these maps. And the first one is, this first one happened in the street block numbered 257. This organic form is changing and getting a linear form in 2018, in the map of 2018. And the second major change happened in the street block number 177. We see its form here in 1938, and it's getting larger in 2018. And the change in the street block number 257 happened as a result of the enlargement of the street directed towards north in 60s. When they opened the Cemal Gürsel Avenue in 1967, the form of the street block changed, actually. And the other change in the street block number 177 happened by the construction of a public space adjacent to the Kemeraltı Mosque. And the whole shape of the street block changed. It's getting larger. And this change is happening in different times. And I also found too many news about this cases too, especially for the new public space, because it takes a long time, and all the people who are working there make news about this. When will you open it? When will you finish it? We can't work anymore. That kind of things. I put some of them here. And these news belong to different times 79, 80, 81, it goes like that for 3 or 4 years. And another one is for the opening of Cemal Gürsel Avenue. And the writer also criticizes again that another new road is collapsing before they opening, that kind of thing. I mean, the people who live there and the publishers care about the study field in any case, in any context. And this is the map of transformation of the building fabric. In 1938, we see low density according to the 2018. And I didn't put it here, but in the usage features, in the map of usage features, the study field is mostly full of with houses. And we see its silhouette under it too. There are low buildings. But in 2018, especially in the facade of the avenue, there are mass blocks. The density is very high. And we also see the silhouette from the same facade. The height is getting bigger, increasing. And we can say that actually it's a development as a part of the urban development history of Adana, because we know that the 50s were the times that improvement of the city both physically and economically was great, with an excessive level of migration to the city center, and those improvements resulted increased construction activities and intense building fabric in the study area. And we also know that the construction activities in the study area were realized not only by the construction of new buildings, but also new buildings on empty plots, and also demolition and construction of new buildings. So depending on this, the transformation of the building fabric also causes damage on the historical texture too. It's another result of this transformation. For example, this is a new from the historical building is burning, and they make a new about this. It's an old Armenian school that I mentioned. Even if the city starts to change, even if the images in the public starts to change, they still care about it and try to make a new about it. They try to make the public know about what's going on. It was very interesting actually for me. And these are comparisons of the photographs from the same perspective. This one belongs to 50s, and I took another picture from the same angle. This is the current situation, and this photograph is from the western entrance of the avenue. I couldn't take from the same angle, but you can see how the scale changed, how the floor heights changed here. You can see the density now. So the reading the transformations in different contexts within 8 years for this study helps to understand the process and reasons behind the change, and also to follow the found traces and compare their consistency. And we see in this study morphological and sociological change have a very consistent parallel process, and also have an important impact on images in the urban memory. And this transformation can even affect the name of a public space. We also see this in the study too. So it is important to make investigations in different contexts when making urban morphological researches, to understand the change in the past and for now. And newspapers for this investigation have a very important role as an alternative material. Research material, and it can be evaluated as a potential material for maybe researches can happen in the future. And that's all for me. That's all for now. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beliz, for this interesting presentation of the evolution of the urban form of Adana, looking through archive materials in the recent history of the 20th century. If there is anyone who would like to pose a question, just please go ahead, or maybe you want to give us a note on the chat so we know how to arrange them. Okay, I'm going to go for the first one. Actually, it is like more than one. I think I got 3 at least. The first is very quick. In one of those pictures of the bridge and the gate, I could see. Can you hear me?
Yes, it was gone, but I can hear you right now.
So sorry, you know, the connection might not go so perfect always. In one of those black and white postcards, if I recall properly, showing the bridge and the gate, I noticed what in my eyes seemed to be big, huge stone blocks.
Mm-hmm.
What are they? Where do they come from? And why were they in that position, in that moment?
I remember that I heard a story, I read a story about this, but I'm not sure actually. But there was some thing about that people on that times were carrying huge stones to make blocks, because there are some stone blocks, how can I say, from an old castle. So they say that there are always some stone blocks around, and people carry them and make houses with them. And there was also another story, like on these years there were always some constructions about the bridge, and they may be these blocks too, because whenever people see that picture, they generally wonder about this. But I don't have an exact information about these blocks. There are many stories about this actually.
Okay, thank you very much. Because most probably, you know, that measure of block cannot belong to any other time than the Roman time, or maybe even Hellenistic. So they might have been moved from somewhere to that place, and that could be an interesting trace of eventually the city walls, because that measure of block belongs to a monumental building. So before I go with the next one, anyone else? Ayşe Semakubat Hocam, you want to pose a question?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question to Busra. I really wondered if she made some analysis, she made research on the development plans. Because as far as I know, in 1965, you mentioned about the street on 1965. You prepared some documents from İller Bankası. I show it. I saw it. But I just wanted, there are some decisions. There was a very big competition in 1965.
Yeah.
And it was about the development plan of Adana. There was one before. Do you have any information about these developments? What happened? What were the decisions about this street on that?
Yes, sure. Well, I can explain it like this. Actually, there are many informations about this development process in the thesis. But for the competition, normally the people are very excited for this competition, because they really want the city changed in a good way. But when they approve the plan, the things don't go as expected, and the decisions were made according to the profits of the managers, actually more. And the I don't know how to say, renting is increasing on this study field, and they can't stop it actually. And there are too many news about this implementations too, because on these years, too many illegal buildings started to appear on the avenue, and they make news about this. This is an illegal story. How can you construct this? That kind of things happen, and the pressure, the development pressure, starts to appear on the study field a lot. The decisions make sense in the formal way, but the implementation doesn't go like that. They generally care about the profits of the managers of the city, actually.
And Busra, did you reach these documents? Do you have these plans?
Yes, I have in my thesis too, and I also, yeah.
Are these development plans, the competition, the result of the competition?
I'm not sure about the development forms. I just have the plan. I just have the plan. Yes, we can see the colorings and the zonings on the plan, But normally I start to reach to the forms about the plan notes about the plan, but I couldn't find them. It was the archives were in Ankara, and I had to go there. It was hard to take them, but I had the map, and it's in my thesis. I can share it with you.
Okay, thank you. I would like to see this because I will have some advices according to you, or I will have some comments.
Okay, sure. I will share it with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyone else? Any other question? I got two more, but I would like other people to, make their own points here. Yasemin would like to say something.
Of course, it was great presentation. Thank you, Beliz. I really enjoyed listening and seeing your presentation. I don't know who your doctoral dissertation advisor is, but it looks as if she or he directed you very, very nicely, and you made all the necessary information in such a short time. I congratulate you and your advice.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? We do have some of our master and PhD students from the ARC 534 course in here, so I would invite them to make comments as well.
Yeah, it was a very nice presentation. Thank you for that. I don't have any questions for now.
Thanks so much.
Anyone else? We still got we have time for discussion, and so I got two more, but I'm waiting. Okay, I want other people to talk here, not only me. It's not a one-man band. Oh, Hazin, Zahin, do you want to? There's a question on the chat. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Well, hello. Am I loud and clear?
Yes.
Am I? Oh, well. Hello. Well, this has been a very interesting presentation. Thank you for that. I would like to know if, since this is a historical city and it has a very enriched historical and social background, how has informality played role in development, like informal settlements and informal vendors and informal activities? How has the interaction have been with the city, and what was it? Can you please shed light on it? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you firstly. Actually, the problem about the study field, the conservation plan of this area was made too late. It was almost made in at the end of 90s, but it was started to implement in 2014 or 15. It's a very long time from this time. So there was a huge gap to do anything you can do anything on the study field because it is not protected. So yes, now we can collect all this information about its importance, its historical background, but on this time these are not known. Even if they are known, they are not important for the managers of the city. The main purpose about this study field, about this area, is mostly to profit, make more money, because it's a commercial center. They just aim to make higher buildings and increase the pressure on this area, and it has actually bad results about this, because the local people who lived and grew up there starts to leave this place, and even in this time, even today, this area is used by generally, there is no social life. There are only some commercial buildings and low-income families, migrated families. refugees are generally living there, so the physical structure is not protected till these times. So the informality played role in that kind of field. Actually, it was not protected, so it was easy to do anything you want. But even if it was easy to do anything you want, we can see that they were still caring about the study field, because we also see some quality buildings as architectural. There are some special buildings that we care about, and some of them are protected, listed at the end of some works. So I hope I could reply your question.
Thank you. Well, that does cover a few of my interests. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Haseen, where are you talking from?
Well, I'm using my cell phone as a camera and my PC screen for better viewing of the scripts.
Yes, but where are you? Which part of the world?
Well, I'm from Bangladesh. It's surrounded by India, and we have Bay of Bengal in the south.
Okay, thank you. Just asking. So, anyone else?
Thank you.
Ugur, are you there? Ugur.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for this lovely presentation. I would like to ask that during your study, did you have any chance to work on the typologies also? The typological analysis of
I'm sorry, my connection was gone. Did you ask me anything?
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Ugur, just repeat the question, because sometimes the connection.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? I don't think so.
Can hear you, but she cannot see you. So if you can open your camera.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. There's a glitch about it. I'm still working on it. Can you give me a second so I can fix it?
Yeah, sure. But just camera is a problem. So, but we have the audio. So just go with the question. If she can hear,
okay.
Okay.
Okay. First of all, thank you for this wonderful presentation. And I would like to ask that, did you have any chance on working with the typologies also?
Yes, there is a typomorphological analysis title in the thesis. Actually, it's not an exact typomorphological analysis, because to make that kind of detailed analysis, you need to have too many informations about the buildings that you examine. But there are some analysis for bank buildings on the avenue and house buildings on the avenue. I try to collect. I try to compile all the information that I have, and there are titles about this analysis. You can see it in the thesis.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I got one here, which is, who is your advisor for this research?
Yes, my advisor is Professor Dr. Duygu Saban.
Okay, thank you, because I think we should acknowledge that person for this.
Yes. We came to Rome with her, and that's how we met there. She was with me.
Okay, anyone else? I got a number of them, but I don't want to take the stage here. So anyone else would like to make a comment, remark of any kind? Okay, so I'm going for it. Now, it seems like the assumption is that this street, Adim Pasha, what is it called, is the modern version of the Decumanus Maximum of the Roman city. If that is the case, I don't know because I haven't studied Adana, but if that is the case, I mean, there was a street, but there was a Decumanus Maximus, but also there was a network of streets, a grid, and city walls. Do you have any, how can I say, evidence? Have you seen any correlation between the street network that is there today and what we might assume might have been the original street grid in Roman times and the city walls also?
Yes. Actually, there is a research that my advisor has about this, and she had a book about this. Actually, it explains detailed. But we can already see the traces of the inner city wall in the map of in the current map. But there are also estimation according to her researches. There is an estimation for the bigger city wall too. Maybe I can show it to you, but I don't know how to find it. If I can find the image, I can show it to you. But yes, there is a estimation about the trace of the wall, and it has a connection to the bridge and the gate, and all the puzzle is looking so clear, but we don't have enough evidence. We just can assume it.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that would be the next step within the research.
Yes, yes.
How the transition between those two urban grids and so I see that Sophie has joined us. Welcome, Sophie. Are you there? That is going to be the next lecture. We will start in 10 minutes. So we still have some time for the discussion. Hello, Sophie.
Hi.
So I don't think we're going to have time now for the presentation of a master or PhD student. We might be able to do that later after Sophie's presentation. Thank you very much, Beliz. And I'm going to start recording.